Hello and welcome to my channel. It's Angie Denise, and today we are delving into more of the trophy wife saga. Right now, I'm giving some background into how she said she ended up being with her husband. Then I will go into what Shira said about what happened to trophy wife, and then I will go into showing trophy wife's response in a now deleted post, and then I will show trophy wife's response to the alleged niece that I talked about in a previous video. I knew she was lying, and I'm so happy that trophy wife came out and she has debunked everything that she said. So without further ado, please tune in, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
So it's going to be ending very soon, which is why I went ahead and moved in with my person that had became my ex. We started living together, and I told my husband, I was like, hey, it was so embarrassing to admit, but I was like, I need a place to stay because my lease is ending, and I just broke up with my boyfriend, and maybe even if it's just like for a couple weeks, it's okay. Just while I look for, somewhere else, because I had planned on needing to find somewhere else. And he was saying, well, if you're going to live with me, it's going to be as my wife, not as my girlfriend. And
so I see why she thought this was romantic, but what he was actually doing was love bombing her. And I understand that she didn't see it that way. She probably saw him as a knight in shining armor, coming to rescue her, and not just wanting to let her stay for a couple of weeks, but was willing to marry her. But I wish she thought to herself, are you even in love with this man? You just got out of a relationship. You need your time to heal. And it's moving too fast before you're actually getting to vet him as a husband. Yes, you've known him for 6 months, but it sounded like they were more like friends when she called him or when he called her. And then she ended up telling him, hey, can I stay with you, with me and my 2 sons? Can I come and live with you for a few weeks while I look for an apartment? I think if she were to have vetted him, then she would not have stayed through all of this. But because we live in a society that pushes marriage on people, on women, and then it's like, if you don't have a husband, then you're not a complete person. I see why she was so eager to jump on the opportunity of, oh, he's a well-to-do man and he wants to marry me. But they weren't even dating. They weren't even dating.
I was like, well, how spontaneous are you? And he laughed, and he said, very spontaneous. So then I was like, right. So we started entertaining the idea of getting married, like, immediately. And I, didn't want to get my hopes up, so I just said that, he's saying all these things, but I'm going to see what action that he takes. And so I had just got paid, and I was like, okay, it seems like we're really talking about seriously entertaining the idea of getting married. So I'm going to go and get the wedding ring. We were talking about getting married like the next week, and he was out of town in Colorado, so we hadn't seen each other. This is all talk over the phone, over FaceTime. So I went and got his ring. I think I paid like $300 for it. It wasn't like a super flashy ring like the one he has now, which is completely a lot better. But I went and got his ring, and the next time we talked on FaceTime, I was like, I did something. And he was like, what did you do? I was like, I got your wedding ring. So he was like, no, you didn't. Show me. So I showed him. I said, yeah, I actually did it. So I had a really bad habit of like spending money. And I was like, if I don't get the ring now, then I'm not going to get it. So I went ahead and got it. And that put the fire under him to, I guess, really go and look for my ring. Well, let me rewind. So then after that, I think it was like the next day, somebody told me to go online and check my eHarmony profile. So I went on there, and I saw that he had updated his picture, and I was like, oh no, this dude is playing around. Like, I'm glad I didn't spend a whole bunch of money on this ring. Like, he was just playing. And I screenshotted it and sent him a picture, and I said, it doesn't seem like we're on the same page. So yeah, I'm done with this.
I wish she left at the first sign of that red flag. Him updating his profile picture after agreeing to marry her definitely signified that he was not serious. And even though he went through and married her, she said that quickly after the wedding, he started acting funny and she didn't like certain things that he was doing while they were living together. And he ended up essaying her 4 times. So this man is controlling and has issues with boundaries and issues with giving respect. He probably felt emboldened to do whatever he wanted because he made the money and she was a stay-at-home wife.
And he texted me. He was like, or I think he tried to call me. I didn't answer. And he texted me, and he was like, no, I'm serious. I am going to marry you in CLAPS. And I think that evening he like ended up going and buying my ring. Married. So we ended up getting married the next week. Everybody was shocked. I randomly called my mom, my grandmother, hey, I'm getting married in a few days. We got married at the courthouse because I told him I don't need a big wedding. I'd rather spend that money elsewhere. And we had a really beautiful wedding reception in DC, a really nice restaurant. It was gorgeous.
Anybody marry somebody after 1 week, they dumb. I'm sorry. Sprinkle, sprinkle. You dumb enough to do that, I'm sorry for you. I'm sorry. But if you're sitting out there, you learned everything from me. Did you learn how to be smart? Did you learn how not to be desperate? Then you didn't learn from me. Did you hear when I said stop being desperate? Did you hear when I said don't be a pygmisha? Did you hear when I talked about background checks? Did you hear when I talked about all this other stuff? About not dealing with men if you have kids until they're old and grown enough to speak for themselves and be in school and whatnot. Did you not hear when I said all of that? Don't blame me. I tell people all the time, don't say my name if you are desperate and being pygmisha. Don't claim me. If you are desperate and you're not smart enough to get the bag, flip the money, have options. If you stupid, don't claim me. If your IQ is low, please don't claim me. I teach women to be smart, not desperate. If you're desperate, don't claim me.
Shera has a brand to protect, so I understand why she was a little brutal, but there was no way for her to know that he would do that to the biological children that they would have with each other. There was no way to vet him in that regard.
You can easily click off if you don't agree. And to be honest, I really don't care who doesn't agree, because at the end of the day, I really don't have to be doing this. I don't have to work. I'm still, whether you like me or not, I'm still going to be rocking Chanel and driving a Porsche. So, your opinion is not going to pay my bills, and it really just doesn't matter. And if you're triggered by that statement, it's because you don't believe that you can accomplish that for yourself. So, level up your mindset. Anything's possible. So that's all I wanted to say today.
Let Isis's story be a cautionary tale for women who have no resources of their own and rely solely on their provider husbands, because at any drop of a dime, they can be left destitute and making a GoFundMe. This is not to make fun of her. This is a very tragic situation for her and her children, and I hope that she will be able to get through this. But yes, there's nothing wrong with getting a provider husband. There's nothing wrong with being provided for, but you have to make sure that there are accounts in your name, that there is money in your account that cannot be taken from you, so that you don't end up having to air out all your business on social media and asking for money. In the next part, Isis will show proof of the fact that she did press charges against her soon-to-be ex-husband for essaying her daughter, which proves the niece was lying.
Hi, everyone. I couldn't get on here fast enough. I couldn't get on here fast enough when I heard people are trying to blame my son. I couldn't get on here fast enough. Couldn't get on here fast enough. I thought I heard someone who I've never met in my life coming on here trying to blame my son. Someone whom I've never met in my life trying to come on here and blame my son for the sick and disgusting things that my daughter's father was doing. This is not a game. This is not a game. How dare you? How dare you blame this on an innocent child? You talk about you got proof? You have proof? I've got proof right here. Right here. Show me your paperwork. Show me your paperwork. You talk about I am saying something different than when I was in court. Honey, you weren't even there. Seeing you in my life is not very good. Oh my gosh. Y'all want to see my protective order? Y'all want to see my protective order right here? I'm going to cover my daughter's name. I'm going to cover my daughter's name. In the case of a vulnerable adult and a minor child, a relative, there is a preponderance of the evidence to believe that the respondent committed the following acts of abuse. Statutory abuse of a child. R word or a statutory S offense. Father has been coming into two-year-old and 4-year-old daughters' rooms and SAing them. This is from the judge. There's the case number. It matches the records. There's the proof. There's the proof. There's the proof. I'm done. That's all. I'm done.